to approach me or my office to seek advice on those sort of things, but it's not a matter for the order of the House. Question number 11, Clare Curran.
Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Finance. Does he stand by his statement that, quote, we don't actually have a procurement policy, we have a set of assumptions, prejudices, habits and an Auditor-General, close quotes?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, yes, we inherited a set of procurement guidelines that are deficient in a number of areas. In particular, they make it very difficult for people with innovative ideas to do business with the public sector at a time when we need the participation of the private sector and their good ideas. As a result, we have set about making significant improvements to government procurement.
Clare Curran.
Does he support a procurement policy which requires government departments and agencies to consider the wider economic impact on the country of their procurement decisions rather than a narrow financial analysis considering only the cost to themselves? If not, why not?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, we support a procurement policy that is going to enable us to deliver high-quality public services to New Zealanders and do so at lower cost. That is the government's top priority. With respect to its impact on economic development, we share the views of the previous government, which is that is not a significant consideration for government procurement.
Clare Curran.
Can he name any trade agreements breached by Labour's recently announced procurement policy and explain how it breaches those agreements, given most of New Zealand's trading partners have internal procurement policies themselves?
Order. I much as the Minister may like to answer the question, I'm not sure he's responsible for the Labour Party policy, and rather than deprive the member of a supplementary question, I invited her to reword her question. Point of order, Honourable Chairman.
Speaker, it was a question about whether he could name any breaches. It goes to his mind, not the policy.
Well, if the member would, I'm prepared to allow the Minister to answer the question. I'm sure he'd probably quite enjoy answering a question in relation to Labour Party policy. The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, I haven't bothered looking at the Labour procurement policy because I've made the same assumption that everyone else has. It'll be backward-looking, it'll signal big spending, more waste and more debt. Why would I worry about that?
Order. 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 Since I allowed the Minister to answer the question, maybe he should just make a little bit of reference to trade agreements. Because the question did ask whether Labour's policy would breach any trade agreements, and it does give the Minister a fair bit of licence, but some mention of trade agreements would be helpful, perhaps. The Honourable Bill English, please.
Mr. Speaker, I haven't bothered looking at Labour's policy, so I can't comment on whether it would breach trade agreements, but it is likely to breach common sense. It's probably...
Clare Curran.
Supplementary.
Order. 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 I've called Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does he agree with Business New Zealand Executive Director Catherine Beard, who said in Monday's Dominion Post that, quote, agencies were tilting the field slightly against local participation? And if not, why not?
The Honourable Bill English.
No, Mr. Speaker. We want to tilt the field in favour of companies who have innovative and forward-looking ideas about how they can work with government to supply better public services, which is quite different than the approach of the previous government, who tried to have as little as possible to do with the private sector and who managed to kill off most of any innovative thinking in the public service with a combination of fear and bullying.
Point of order.
Clare Curran. Is this a point of order?
Point of order, Mr.
Point of
Speaker.
order, Clare Curran.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table a written transcript of Bill English's speech at the Net Hui conference in Auckland on the 30th of June and an electronic version of that speech.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection.
Thank you.
Question number 12, Rahui Katane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Does he stand by his responses to oral question number 6 on overseas investment rules review on 6 April 2011? If so, what regulations are in place to prevent sensitive forestry land from being